Minecraft just released the Garden Awakens update. With it comes the eerie pale garden biome and the creaking, a mob that relentlessly pursues you whenever your back is turned and can't be damaged. But today I'm going to take on the challenge to get hold of the brand new pale oak and resin blocks so I can build a gigantic pale oak mansion in Minecraft Hardcore. But the first thing I have to do is actually find one, and from what I've heard that's not easy, because looking for a location for this build I explored quite a lot of this area, and these pale oak gardens are quite small. So it's over we go to the cabin to drop off all of these shulker boxes with bits from the last build. Yeah, I'm going to need to sort these out later. Pick up a bunch more rockets and shulkers and head out across the mountains exploring. So after flying north for quite some distance, I've managed to find this huge dark oak forest, as the new pale garden is a variant of the dark oak. So hopefully that will be nearby. But whilst I was flying, I noticed this woodland mansion. And then if I look over this way, another one. So two of pretty much the rarest structure in the game right next to each other. I've said it before, this seed is mad. And if you want to get hold of this seed, I will be giving that out later in the episode, so make sure you stick around. But I think these are for exploring another day, as I need to find this pale garden. And literally just over the hill, the mansion being just there, we found our first pale oak garden, and it is smaller than I was expecting. But I absolutely love this position on top of this hill, and this is going to be perfect for what I want. And when you're inside one of these things, everything gets this very washed out look, and the sky goes a lot grayer. So all of the blocks that you place in this that are organic will change their colour based on this biome. A bit like the opposite of a jungle where everything's super vibrant. But wandering around this place with these leaf particles, and especially with this rain, this is a super spooky biome. And what have we got here? Closed eye blossoms, yes. So these, when you place them in the daytime, are closed, and then when it turns to nighttime, these actually open up. And I want to get my first wood of this new pale oak type, because this is absolutely gorgeous stuff. And let's see if I can get some saplings from this as well. And it appears to be turning nighttime, so you can see these things opening up now. I seem to have been joined by some friends. So with these guys, as long as I don't turn away, they're not going to come after me. But as soon as I do, then they will attack, and they are pretty quick, to say the least. I think it's time to put on my chest plate, just in case. So when I bash these guys, it doesn't do them any damage, but it does send a pulse to the tree that's got the creaking heart in. So if you follow that back, you can find the source. And now there's 3 of them. The more of these there are, the more dangerous they become. Do you mind? Now, if I'm careful where I look, I can get this resin, and this can be used to either craft some more creaking hearts, or you can use it to make any of the resin blocks. But if I take out this creaking heart, then one of them's disappeared. Just to get rid of this final one, and there we go. Safety at last. So I've made myself just a temporary little resin farm with this guy down in this hole here, and every time I hit him, he creates some more resin right next to this creaking heart, which I can then go and pick up. So you're not supposed to be here. It's daytime. Ah, thunderstorm, though I had no idea you guys stayed alive during those. Now I've dealt with some of the creakings, it's time to think about the build. So I went to look online for ideas and found this $32.5 million California mansion. If you're going to build a mansion, you might as well do it properly. So now I have to start clearing out some of these trees so I've got enough space to build it. With all the trees gone and shed loads of wood, it was time to start leveling out the ground and doing a little bit of terraforming. And now this area is cleared and flattened and ready to go. And I have a significant number of resources, especially loads of these pale oak logs. And that is going to be perfect for the build. But now I'm going to head over here because I have set myself up a nether portal, which is going to make traveling back and forwards so much easier. So I need to light this up and then head back to my base to connect it up and fix my tools. And if I'm correct, absolutely perfect. Now I'm all connected up and I have access to my supplies, I think I'm going to plan out my build by using some of this dirt to give myself a basic structure. I'm pretty happy with the structure of this and the shape. I'll probably add some more elements to it when I actually build it, but it certainly gives me an idea of the scale, and it is going to be big. So the next thing to think about is going to be the resources to actually build this. And the pale oak is going to be one of the blocks, which I've got plenty of now, thanks to the deforestation earlier. But the main other block that comes to mind when I think modern is cyan terracotta. Unfortunately, I've only got 2 of these that I think I picked up from a village. And sadly, you can't mine cyan terracotta in a mesa. So I'm going to have to get some regular terracotta and dye it cyan. Luckily, I can trade for the lapis for blue dye with all of my clerics. And to get the green dye, I picked up a whole bunch of sea pickles the other episode, so I can smelt these up. And when I do, that will give me the green dye. And of course, sea pickles give lime dye.
When they ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
In this shulker box, I've got everything that I'm gonna need for a cactus farm, because that one definitely smelts down to green dye. So time to get building. Now that that's done, I'll be able to smelt the cactus up for some green dye. The problem is these things are pretty slow, so I've only got 10 so far, which means I'll need to come back and AFK here later. But for now, I need to head off into the distance and try and find myself a mesa, because I don't even think I've been to one yet. But first of all, let's at least get these smelting. So as I fly off towards the sun, why don't you fly off and hit that subscribe and like button. Ooh, shipwreck on land. Let's have a quick look inside. Ooh, a bottle of enchanting. And I'm not going to turn away lapis at the moment. Well, that's the first time I've seen one of these. It's a little island village. Ooh, cactus, not going to turn that down either. I'll just take this, and I'm sure they won't miss this wheat either. Well, my dude, this is the nicest village that I've been to in a long time. It's even got its own runway. And over there, I can see the mesa. Excellent. Ooh, and a ruined portal as well. Let's just take care of you. Another golden apple's always useful. Given how handily this thing is located, I think I'm going to use it as the portal to connect up to the nether roof, as it's perfect for the desert and the mesa. Let's get this lit, ready to go. So it was time for a little bit of exploring in the area. This is what you refer to in the business as a death trap. Ooh, another village. Oh, a camel. I've never actually ridden one of these. Up we get. I said up we get. There we go. Look at his little flappy ears. Ooh, and I'm certainly not one to turn away cactus. And you won't miss this. And I'll just take this and more. And green dye too. That reminds me, at some point I need to craft some bundles. Well, this seed has done it again. This valley through the mesa is absolutely stunning. It's like the game's trying to get me to build some dams. Anyway, this area looks perfect for me to start collecting some of the terracotta that I'm gonna need. And with that, I've collected my terracotta and I'm ready to go. And now just a quick trip back to the log cabin, and when I get there, to head to the nether and finish setting up the nether portal. Perfect. Then it was just a quick bit of AFKing at my mob farm to let some cactuses grow. Yeah. So what kind of cursed madness is this? I'm pretty sure my Fresh Animations mod needs an update. But let's grab the cactus that we've got in that time. Hopefully with what we picked up in the villages, that should be enough. Time to smelt it up and see. And whilst that was smelting, I did a little farming. So through all of that, I managed to get 2 stacks of green dye. And now just to craft this up. Cyan terracotta acquired. But considering how big this build's going to be, I'm going to need a lot more resources, starting with all the new pale garden blocks. Although I have plenty of pale oak logs, it's always worth getting more. So if I plant up some of these saplings, then I can get myself a decent supply going on. Yep, when I need it, that chunk of wood should do the trick. However, given that this is all the resin that I managed to get, I'm going to need to get a lot more. So let's craft this into blocks and head over to the village to make ourselves another farm. But for this, we're actually going to need to build 2 farms. A small farm to give us enough resin blocks to build the creaking hearts to build the big farm. But both of these farms are by Raiseworks, and I'll pop a link in the description in the video. And to build these, I've come up to the roof of my mob farm because I need to make sure the creaking spawn where I want them, and this is all already completely mob proof. So here's the super simple design. There's a sticky piston behind this block, and the resin will spawn here when you hit the creaking from the creaking heart, gets picked up by the observers and drops it in the chest. Now all I need to do is wait for night time for a creaking to spawn. And as if by magic, there he is. And just like that, the creaking is gone, and one night of just bashing has got me this number of resin clumps. But when I combine these with the resin that we've already got, that gives almost the perfect number for the real farm that we're going to build. Before I can build though, I need a quick trip to the nether to pick up some quartz. With all of that quartz, I've refilled my redstone box and I've got all of the other resources that I'm going to need as well. The time to build this farm up there. Hello. The farm's now finished and it's about to turn night time, so I best get out of this redstone and get ready to swipe some creaking. And there they are. So I AFK'd for a couple of nights, clicking away, and even ended up with the thunderstorm, which now we know spawns creaking. Always love to see a rainbow. And from that, we've ended up with more than a chest's worth of blocks of resin. And now I've broken down some of the resin into clumps, and I am smelting it up, which will give me the resin bricks. Because that's what we need to get the resin blocks. This is going to take a while. And it's finally done. But now I have all of the resin bricks that I can craft together, which gives me the resin blocks. And this whole process has taught me two things. One, I really need a super smelter. And two, the process for getting resin bricks is pretty complicated. But on the plus side, I've got loads of cactus that's grown up in that time. So when I inevitably need cyan dye in the future, I'll be set. The next thing on the list that I'm going to need is concrete. And specifically grey, white, light blue, and you guessed it, cyan. And although I've got plenty of gravel, I'm coming up seriously short on sand. So it's back into the nether and over to our brand new desert and mesa area. Oh, a golden apple. Luckily, mining sand is one of the most satisfying things in the game. And before you know it, I've got a very worn out shovel and plenty of sand. Now just a quick fix up of my shovel. And it's time to think about the dyes. I'm set for white dye from all of my bones, and also have plenty of green and blue, but I am low on black. Luckily, the lake in front of my cabin is a total hotspot for squid, so I headed out to try and reduce the surplus population, but it was absolutely crazy. They were spawning faster than I could relieve them of their ink. I've honestly had farms that have been slower than just swimming in this lake. And in a matter of minutes, I've got 5.5 stacks of ink. That is crazy. And now that I've got all of the dyes, all that's left is to craft up the concrete powder and get it turned into concrete with no hidden messages. None. Seriously, none. None. Excuse me, what are you doing on my roof? How did these get here? Seriously, these trespassers. And all the concrete has been successfully collected. And that was definitely the most efficient way that I could possibly have done that. And anyone who'd try and tell you that I'd send hidden messages during my videos is talking rubbish. Absolute rubbish. I would never do such a thing. Now we've got that out of the way, it's on to the next resource that I'm going to need. And that is some polished basalt, because I really don't have very much. So it's time for some exploring in the nether. And as I've mentioned before, underneath the bedrock, my nether is terrible, with absolutely no good way out of this crimson forest. Luckily, if I travel hundreds and hundreds of blocks through my tunnels, I get to my nether fortress, which is in a basalt delta. And then, as I was looking for a good place to dig up some resources... You're kidding me! This is very important, because this is actually the third wither skull that I've managed to pick up. And just round the corner, this looks like a pretty safe place to mine some basalt. Now time to do a little bit of basalt mining. And now I'm back safely, with my basalt reserves fully restocked. But more importantly, I have the last wither skeleton skull that I'm going to need. So it looks like next episode I'm going to be taking on the wither. But now, for the next thing, I'm going to need a name tag. Here we go. And to rename this... and for you. And there's still 3 more doggos to name, so if you've got any ideas, let me know in the comments. Now I'm back in the Pale Garden, and I have an important decision to make. And that is, to build this, what kind of lighting am I going to use? No, 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 yes. But I'm also going to need something else that's a bit more modern than any of these. And the solution to that is these guys here. I'm going to have to get myself some frog lights. So first thing to do is to transfer these guys over to the cabin. Follow me, little dudes. And now these guys are safely secured on this post. Next, I need to find my way to a swamp so I can get myself some slime balls. And luckily, there's a huge one by the stronghold. Now we just wait for nighttime. And over here, we have some more absolutely mad terrain. What is going on up there? What a beautiful sunset. Well, that was a pretty successful night. And now to breed these guys. Excellent, we've got our first frog spawn. And some over here as well, perfect. And whilst those hatch, it's time to go and make some buckets. I've created a little breeding pool where I'm putting all of the tadpoles once they hatch, and the frogs are laying them in this area, and then I'm connecting them to the post until they're ready to breed again. Otherwise, these are an absolute nightmare for going walkabout. Just waiting for the last of the tadpoles to grow up here, and when they do, they will give this moderate orange tone that gives the ochre frog lights. And in the mountain just behind the lake, I've been growing up some more of these tadpoles, which give this green variety for the verdant frog lights. But the one thing that's missing is these warm frogs, where I only seem to have 3 of the 4 left. So I need to take this shulker of tadpoles over to the desert, where I can set up a little breeding area and get these ones to grow up to be the warm frogs. And after a couple of days, these guys have all grown up, so now I have to find the right location for the farm. And by sheer coincidence and good luck, the portal to the desert area is slap bang in the middle of a basalt delta, which is exactly where this needs to be built. The farm I'm going to be using for this is by another friend of mine, Radical Elder, and the link will be in the description. And for this, I've collected most of the things that I'm going to need in these shulker boxes, but there's a couple of items I still need to get. The first is a whole bunch more glass. And the other thing I need is my old nemesis, powdered snow. And after collecting several dozen buckets of the stuff, I now have all the resources that I'm gonna need. And I've picked out the perfect location. So now I need to bring the frogs over. And I'm not gonna lie, these guys are a total pain to move, but they're all here now. So the next thing to do is get building. And the farm is now complete, and it's stocked full of 30 frogs, 10 of each of the colours, and just whilst I've been building it, it's been giving me loads and loads of frog lights. But now I'm up at the AFK spot to see what it can really do.
6 hours later.
And if I head down, I can see it working, but let's see how many frog lights this has actually managed to give me in that time. Oh, okay, yep, literally every one of these chests is full. Yep, I'm never going to need to run that again. And I absolutely love these colours. And speaking of colours, the AD Craft merch is available in a variety of colours in hoodies and t-shirts. Check it out in the link below if you're interested in supporting the channel and you want to look awesome doing it. But now I need to pick these up, collect the rest of the resources, and bring them all over here to the mansion build site. And believe me when I tell you that crafting all of those took forever. But I can't quite start building yet, as there's still one item that I'm missing, and that is calcite. And as I don't want to go digging around looking for a geode, I need to find myself a stony shore. So I'm heading off in search of wild calcite. And yes, I think I can see some. I can. Perfect. A lovely big blob. And the joy of calcite is its insta-mine. Oh, I love it. This is so satisfying. Well, that section's well and truly cleared out, and I've got more than enough calcite for what I need. There's also a big extra section over there if I ever need to come back. But now to pick these up and head back to the build site. And now I finally have everything I need. It's time-lapse time. And the build itself is now complete, and that took a lot longer than I was expecting. But it's not done yet, as I still have an interior to add. And as everyone knows, no build of mine is ever done without an interior. Excuse me? What? Hello? What about the log cabin you built in episode 1? Look, I added an interior to that. It's where I'm living. I'm not gonna live in an empty shell. Okay, you came back to that one. But how do you explain this spooky mansion from episode 2? Lovely nether portal, but it's still empty. Okay, yes, fine. I still need to fill that up, but I do have plans for the future. Wait. What? Who are you? What are you doing here? Okay, bye. Who was that guy? How rude. Anyway, I need to add an interior to this. And if I walk this way and do a spin like so, through the magic of editing, it is all complete. And as we approach, you can see this grand entrance with a huge door, because what mansion would be complete without a huge door? First, we come into the foyer, and this goes straight out to the pool area, which I'll check out in a second, and then onto the main seating area with a big TV, and this is where the dining area is as well. On the other side, we have a breakfast bar, another little seating area, and a kitchen with all of the amenities, and the double fridge, freezer, and of course, twin dishwashers, because this place is fancy. This is the second bedroom, if you believe that, with a little walk-in wardrobe area, this lovely decadent bathroom area, a big bed, and again, seating with a lovely little view out over the Pale Garden. Another little seating and relaxing area out here, past the giant and undoubtedly very expensive art that we have here, into the master suite with this huge walk-in wardrobe area. And then here we've got the master suite itself. Got one of those fancy in-the-room baths, and this bedroom area with its own seating and some more amazing views. The top floor has not only this stunning chandelier and a little desk area with views out over the dark oak forest, but it comes out to this roof terrace, a lovely relaxation area, its very own bar, and then this entertaining area with, of course, the best views in the property. I feel like I'm presenting an episode of Homes of the Rich and Famous. The last thing to check out is this pool area with some floaties here and plenty of seating and this gorgeous fire pit. But there's one thing that any self-respecting mansion needs, and that's a garage with a supercar in it. So if you're interested in purchasing this property, I am open to offers. No time wasters, pleased. And with all that said, I'll see you all next time on ADcraft.